Hi there, welcome to this GMAT practice video. Remember, to achieve your dream score, there are just two steps. The first step is structured preparation and the second step is mixed problem solving, and we will be focusing on mixed problem solving in this video. In this video, we are going to cover 3 questions of the same type to ensure that you get sufficient practice and that you will be able to solve this question type if you get it in the exam. And then we will analyze the pattern or some interesting things from these 3 questions. And also we will take a look at a common trap. So ensure that you stick around till the end and let's dive straight in. So the first question is on your screen now. Give it a try and then we will solve it together. All right. Remember, it's not just important that you solve only very difficult questions to practice, but it's important that you practice questions of all sorts of difficulty. And again, remember, these are questions which I've picked and created based on the pattern in the advanced GMAT book. All right. So it's important that you solve these questions so that if you get it in the exam, you will be able to accurately and quickly solve it. All right. So let's dive in, give it a try, and then let's solve it together. All right. We are back. I hope you have given it a try. Now let's take a look at it together. A bookstore spent $800 on a collection of N identical novels. So we have N novels. The retailer chose to keep 5 of the novels for exhibition purpose and sell the rest for $12 more than the average price of the N titles. So the rest would be N minus 5, right? Because 5 were kept for exhibition purpose. Okay, so we are left with N minus 5 novels. And then he's selling these N minus 5 novels at $12 more than the average price of the N titles. So the cost over here was $800 and you have N novels. So the average would be 800 by N, and he's selling these N minus 5 novels at $12 more than the average. So that's 800 by N plus 12. All right. So the total amount of money that he would be making is N minus 5 into 800 by N plus 12. All right. Let's proceed. How many novels were included in the original collection if the total income, so this is the total income which is gained from the sale of the novels, surpassed the initial investment by $320. So the total amount which he's getting by selling the N minus 5 novels at 800 by N plus $12 is equal to 800 plus 320, which is equal to 1120. So this is the equation that we can form based on the information given in the question. Now remember, some students, if they just proceed very quickly, have not practiced many questions and are maybe in kind of anxiety during the exam, instead of writing 1120, they would directly write 320 over here. So that's again a common trap. Okay, so it says that it surpassed the initial investment by 320. So this is equal to 800 plus 320 or 1120. So the first step to solve this question is to form the above equation. So you should be able to form this based on the information given in the question. Now, the traditional way of solving this type of an equation would be to convert it into a quadratic equation, but don't do that on the exam. All right. So we are given the answer options over here. So all you need to do is you need to plug in the answer options and see whether the left hand side and the right hand side are becoming equal. Now there is one more interesting thing that you can do over here. You can see that we have 800 by N, right? And we are getting a whole number over here, right? So whatever comes over here should also be a whole number, or in other words, N should perfectly divide 800. All right. So check among the answer options which number in the answer options divides 800 perfectly. So over here you see 40, 800 by 40. Yes, it's perfectly divisible. You get 20, right? What about 42? No. See, 42 is 21 into 2. 21 is 7 into 3, right? And 800 over here does not have 7 or 3 as factors. So no, 42 is not possible. What about 44? 44 is 4 into 11. Again, 11 is not a factor of 800. So again, no. What about 46? 46 is 2 into 23 and 800 cannot be divided by 23. So this is also out. and then we have 48 over here. 48 is 4 into 12, right? And 12 is 4 into 3. Again, you have 3 over here, right? And 800 cannot be perfectly divided by 3. So if you choose any of the options from B to E, this over here would be a decimal value, right? So that's why you can directly eliminate these. And then if you take a look at 40, n minus 5 will become 35, and 800 by 40 is 20. 20 plus 12 is 32. Now if you do 35 into 32, you can just quickly multiply and see, you will get 1120. So the correct answer to this question is option A. All right, so what did we do? We formed this question, we formed this equation, and then we plugged in the answer choices and found the correct answer to be option A, that is 40. All right, so again, try to marinate this, try to solidify this, and have a good understanding of these type of problems. Now let's go ahead and solve one more question which is of the same pattern, so that you will be able to apply what you just now learned. Okay, and don't worry, we'll not only do one question, we'll do one more, we'll do two more questions. All right, so let's get ahead. So this is the next question. Pause the video, give it a try, and then let's do it together. Remember, you should be able to solve these type of questions in a very quick manner and with good accuracy in the actual exam. So give it a try. All right, we are back. I hope you have given it a try. Now let's solve this together. A farmer paid $720 for a flock of T identical sheep. The farmer kept 6 of the sheep for breeding and sold others for $8 higher than the T sheep's average price. How many sheep were in the flock if the total income from the sale of the sheep was $360 higher than the cost of the flock? So we have the initial cost to be $720, and there were T identical sheeps, and he kept 6 sheep for breeding, right? So the remaining sheep are T minus 6, and the price at which he's selling these T minus 6 sheep is $8 higher than the average. So the average, what's the average? The average is 720 divided by T, right? Because 720 is the cost over here, and initially we had T sheep. So the average is 720 divided by T, and $8 higher means 720 by T plus 8. So when you multiply this, you should be getting 1080, right? Because he's getting $360 higher than the cost of the flock. Remember, don't put directly 360 over here. That's a common careless mistake. It mentions over here $360 higher than the cost. So that's 360 plus 720, which will give you 1080. So again, remember, to solve these type of questions, the first step is to be able to form the above equation by looking at the information given in the question. And again, don't go ahead and form this into a quadratic equation. That's not the best way, because we have limited time. So just plug in the answer options and see in which case the left hand side and the right hand side become equal. And again, over here you can see that you have 720 divided by T. So take a look at the answer options and check which number from the answer options divides 720 perfectly, so that we don't get a decimal value over here, right? We should be getting a whole number, and over here also we should be getting a whole number, and then finally we get a whole number, right? We don't want decimal numbers, so that's why this T should perfectly divide 720. Let's take a look at the options. We have 60. Yes, 60 perfectly divides 720. 720 by 60 is 72 by 6, which gives you 12, right? So yes, let's hold it. What about 62? 62 is 31 into 2, and 720 does not divide 31, so no. What about 64? That's 8 into 8. Okay, now check, is 720 divided by 8 into 8, is that possible? 720 divided by 8 into 8, quickly try it out. So if you divide it, so you have 4 over here, you have 360, and then you have 90, and then you can see 90 by 8 doesn't go, right? This is just a power of, this is 2 into 2 into 2, but over here you have 3 as a factor, right? 90 is 3 into 3 into 10, so it doesn't go perfectly. So again, this also is out. Similarly, 66 is 6 into 11, and 11 does not divide 720, right? So again, this also is out. What about 68? 68 is 34 into 2, and 34 is nothing but 17 into 2. Now 17 and 720, just try it out. You'll see that it does not divide. This is also out, and we are just left with 60, which is the correct answer. So the correct answer to this question is 60. And what about plugging in the values? That's what we have over here. So if you plug it in over here, you get 60 minus 6, that is 54, and 720 by 60, that's 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. So 54 into 20 will give you 1080. So that is the correct answer. So what did we do? We formed the above equation and then we plugged in the answers, and we were specifically looking for answer options which perfectly divided 720. All right. So take a moment, try to understand what happened over here, so that if you get this question in the exam at any cost, you will accurately solve it and you will do it quickly, and that will help you achieve your dream score. So you're actually learning something, not just glancing through. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve one more problem of this, so that you're very sure that if you see such a question the next time you see, you will be able to solve it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next question. So this is question number 3 for you. Pause the video, give it a try, and then let's solve it together. Remember, practice is the only key. It's the only thing that will help you improve your accuracy and your speed. So practice is paramount. So go ahead and try to solve this question. All right, we are back. Let's take a look at it together. A toy manufacturer bought a collection of T identical toy cars for $960. The manufacturer used 8 of the toy cars for display and sold each of the others for $16 more than the average arithmetic mean cost of the T toy cars. If the total income from the sale of the toy cars was $480 more than the cost of the collection, how many toy cars were in the collection? So what's the information that we have over here? Initially we had T toy cars and he's keeping 8 of them for display. So he's left with T minus 8 toy cars, and the sale price is $16 more than the average. The average we know is 960 divided by T, and 16 more, that's 960 by T plus 16. So when he does this, when he sells the T minus 8 cars, toy cars at this price over here, he's making $480 more than the cost. So the cost was 960. So 960 plus 480 gives you 1440. Remember, don't in a hurry write 480 over here. That's a common trap or a common mistake, common careless mistake. So don't do that. All right. So this is the first step. You should be able to form the above equation from the data given or the information given in the question. And then don't go ahead and solve this by converting this into a quadratic equation. That's not the way. Rather, plug in values from the answer options and try to see which one fits. All right. So let's try to see that. And again, remember, we want a whole number over here. So we have a whole number over here and we want a whole number over here as well. So see which of the answer options divides 960. So T should be such that 960 by T is a whole number, not a decimal number, right? So we take a look at option A and we get 40. You can see that 40 is perfectly dividing 960, right? But there is one more number over here, right? So if you quickly went ahead and marked 40, because 40 was perfectly dividing 960, that's a trap, right? So take a look at 44, 4 into 11. No, 11 is not a factor of 960. So this is also out. But over here you have 48. 48 will also perfectly divide 960, right? So that's the important thing. That's why we have this second step over here, which is plugging in the values into the equation. All right. So when you do that, you will see that 40 will not give you the correct answer, but 48 will give you the right answer. So you should be able to quickly plug it in, right? So let's quickly try that. So let's try 40. If you plug in 40, you get 40 minus 8, that's 32, right? And over here you have 960 by 40, which is 96 by 4. And if you divide that, you get 24, right? So 24 plus 16 gives you 40, right? So that's 32 into 40. And when you do that, when you multiply this, you get 8 and then you get 12 and you get 0. So that's 1280, which is not 1440. So that's why 40 is out because of the plug-in step. And when you do 48, when you plug in 48, again, you can see that there is no other value, right? 52 is 2, and then you have 26, and then you have 13. So 13 is a factor of 52, but 13, is it a factor of 96? No, 13 is not a factor of 96, right? So again, this one is also out. What about 56? That's you have 2, and then you have 28. 28 into 2 is 56, and you have 14, and you have 7. So again, I'm just factorizing it to quickly see whether it will work out. So you see that 7 is a factor of 56, and is 7 a factor of 960? You have no, right? If you just mentally try to divide 960 with 7, so over here you see that it goes one time, and you are left with the remainder 2, and you have 2 and 6, that's 26, and you know that the nearest multiple of 7 is 28, right? So 960 divided by 7 will not give you a whole number, so this is also out, and you're only left with 48, and you could go ahead and mark this as the correct answer. But even if you plug it in, you will get it, right? 48 minus 8 gives you 40 over here, and 960 divided by 48, that's 20. 20 plus 16 is 36, right? So when you multiply this, you'll get 24, 12, 14 and 1440, which is the right hand side. So LHS and RHS, or left hand side and right hand side, match when you plug in 48, and that's the correct answer. So remember, don't skip the step of plugging in, especially if you see that there are multiple values which divide. So again, many students, when they see that 40 divides 960, they'll just go ahead and mark that as the answer, which is not to be done. All right, so we have solved these 3 questions which were of the same type. Now I'm sure you will be able to solve this type of a question if you get it in the exam, and you'll be able to do it quickly and with good accuracy, and that's our aim, right? Now let's take a quick look at the pattern. Over here, remember, we tried to use the trick where we were trying to find the number which perfectly divided the initial cost, right? So that we get a whole number. Now again, let's quickly revise. We had 800 by n, 720 by n, and 960 by n. So that's one of the things that we used over here. This was actually a trick. Okay. Now again, it's possible that, let's say we were multiplying 2 numbers and we were getting the x dollars greater than the cost. So that's the equation that we formed, right? Now it is possible, like let's say this is a decimal and over here it's a whole number, and still you get a whole number. Yes, it is still possible, but again, for that, over here you should have zeros, right? You should have zeros in the end. Only then, like 100 into 0.2 will give you 20. But again, this was not the case. So typically, if this is not the case, if over here you have something like 23 and over here you need something and over here you want a whole number, then this also should be a whole number. So we were trying to leverage this trick over here to solve this question faster. And again, remember, the trap that you see over here is, number one, there are students who probably make this into a quadratic equation and spend a lot of time to solve it. So that's one trap. So we said that you should not do that. Now, some students know this trick, all right, which we just now discussed, and they'll see that option A perfectly divides it, and then they'll just go ahead and plug it in. So, and mark that as the answer. That's what we saw in the third question. So remember, it's important to plug in what you get and verify very quickly. Like with practice, you'll be able to do it very quickly. That will help you improve your accuracy as well. So don't skip that step. So again, take a note of this trick over here, and also remember to plug in the values so that your accuracy does not suffer, which is very important to achieve your dream score. All the best in your preparation. Do subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and see you in the next video. All the best.